part 3 of Zamaras' story. So they transfer us to the ICU unit due to some different symptoms she was having that wasn't right, and they thought that it'd be better for closer observation, which I did not agree with. Obviously, the children's hospital could have done the same thing that happened at the ICU unit, and she probably would have been more comfortable, as we had been there a month on the children's hospital, and she had finally gotten used to the nurses and was playing with them when they came in. She was finally coming around to them. So we go to the ICU unit. They have an ultrasound lady come in, as I have it also one of my pictures. Zamaras holding a cat up to her that I bought her that walked and meowed, as we had a cat at home, and I figured it was something that could bring her spirit up, because throughout this whole month, my 3 and 5-year-old had maybe come up 3 times, because I didn't want them to see her like that, as that's not okay. But when they did come up, Zamaras' spirit come back out of her. It brought some life back into her. So I bought her this cat, and she had every one of them nurses on the children's hospital on the floor with her, playing with this cat behind their desk, as they don't usually do that. So they have the ultrasound lady come down to check her kidneys. They're not informing me of what's really going on. So I feel like in the background they're holding stuff from me, and I said that to him. I said, I don't want you to sugarcoat shit for me. I want you to give it to me straight from the beginning. To just give it to me straight. Because as a mother, you just want to make the best decision, and I wasn't sure treatment was the best decision for her. I had said to them 3 times throughout the month, I think I just want to stop treatment and just take her home and let her be Zamara. And I wanted to just get in the car and take her to Disneyland, and I said that to them. Because I knew in my heart that something wasn't right. They reassured me. We just started treatment. So I trusted them. Okay, but my thing is I felt like they were sugarcoating shit, and main thing that got me with that was that Medicaid was fighting to pay for her treatment in Boston, and they don't usually do that. So, and obviously Medicaid would know a lot more about what's going on than obviously they're telling me, because I'm not doing the test. I'm not doing all that kind of stuff. I'm just being told what they tell me. So anyways, they had the lady come in and do an ultrasound of Zamara, of her kidneys and her liver. Dr. Shield happened to be her oncology that day. They did inform me towards the end of the day, about 3-4 o'clock, that her kidneys and liver were starting to shut down. The labs that they were drawing every couple hours were not right. So they were trying to give her all this stuff to help her kidneys, her liver. By then she was still peeing well over what she was supposed to. The diapers were weighing off the chart, so off the scale that they had. So they did mention about dialysis, possibly having to do dialysis with her because of her kidneys, and whatever they did for the ultrasound, I don't know. They didn't really tell me about the ultrasounds that they did and what they were reading, besides that her liver and kidneys were shutting down a little bit, but that's what they were giving her all this other stuff for. So again, they reassured me that she was, her lungs were okay. And towards the end of the day, Dr. Shield come in probably for the 3rd or 4th time. Usually they only seen us twice a day. He had been in there 4 or 5 times that day. And it was weird. I said to him, why is she snoring laying down? She's never, I know it sounds weird, but I know my kids, and she never snored, and it was just something that was new and off. And anything that I noticed, I mentioned to them. So in the same time, I said to him, Samara's breath smelled like death. And I have a text message from one of the good nurses on the ICU unit that said I was right. The smell of her breath. I said it's only been 2 days that I haven't been able to brush her teeth down here, and her breath just smelled like something had died. He kind of brushed it off. He said, yeah, I do kind of smell it, but he probably didn't know either. So, he reassures me her lungs were clear. He went home for the night. After he went home for the night, a couple hours later, it really went downhill. Her breathing even throughout the day when he was there, I have videos, her breathing watching her stomach, it just looked like she was struggling to breathe. Not as bad as it was in the video I had posted, but it was still off and it wasn't right, but they still kept assuring me she was okay. So later on, I want to say 8 o'clock, it had been hours since Samara had actually peed on her own. They had catheterized her. She had so much urine they had to get another bucket to put it in. So they kept giving her all this medication to help her pee on her own. It just wasn't working. Sorry, I'm breastfeeding the baby. So it wasn't right, and you could tell her body was shutting down. The nurse, this 21, 22-year-old nurse, that didn't know shit, and that I had snapped on a couple minutes after she had come in due to something she told me she was going to do with my daughter. And I looked at her and I told that woman, I cannot remember her name, as that night had been a mess, that she wasn't going to tell me what she was going to do with my child. She came back in after she'd walked out after I snapped at her and apologized. So her breathing really started getting bad. She couldn't pee anymore on her own even after they were giving her this medication to help her pee. She wasn't, I was by myself. I was in this ICU unit. No doctors, as I'd been asking for. I asked them multiple times to call oncology. I had texted my cousin to come up with me because I just wanted somebody there with me. As I knew that was probably going to be the last night with my child. So my cousin came up. She happened to be there, I don't know, after midnight, a little after midnight. She was in the room with me the whole time, asking for help. She will verify all of this. So the baby, I breastfed him. He just wanted to be held, and I kept asking the nurse, is there some way somebody can come in and help me with him? This was before my cousin had got up there. They just didn't help me. So I knew I didn't have long with my daughter, so I took my son after I breastfed him. I had a little bit of the milk I had stored away. And I ran 2 floors up to the children's hospital. And as they knew us for the last month, the nurse, she just put her hands out because she knew by how I was that something wasn't right. And she took him, and I ran back downstairs with Zamara. And as soon as I come on the unit, the head nurse yelled at me, "Where's the baby?" And I said to her, "The baby's fucking fine. He's upstairs where I can get some fucking help with him, as I won't have tomorrow with my daughter." She said, "Well, why didn't you ask for help? I've been asking your nurse that's been in that room for fucking help, and I get none." She said, "Well, you need to go back up and get him." And I said, "No, the fuck I'm not. You can go back up and get him." So, she attempted to go back up and get my son, because now she wants to be nice and offer some help, to have someone help me with the baby. No, that's not